So drop into your seat. Put your legs in whatever shape feel right. You could even be in a chair. It doesn't matter. We just want to be vertical to start. We're going to be horizontal a lot today. And then close your eyes. And if it's challenging to close your eyes, sometimes that, we feel like our eyes don't want to close. We're kind of stimulated. So just squeeze your eyes really tight together. Let's just all do that. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the face, the muscles around the eyes. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, soften. Soften the muscles around the eyes. The inner edge, the outer edge. And let your eyelids just be like little eye pillows resting downward. And as you relax the muscles around the eyes, can you also smooth the space between your forehead, between your, between your eyebrows on your forehead? And I'm muting everyone. And then gently smoothing the forehead, soften the skin across your scalp. And let that also relax the face itself. So nothing in the face, just relaxing the face. Notice how that feels. And then bringing the attention to the tip of the nose and feeling the sensation of the breath. And let the breath carry you inward. Let it bring you inside your own body, bring you into your heart space as that breath comes into the lungs. And breathe right there into the center of your chest. Let it rise and fall. Just take note of what's in your heart today. Not trying to be any particular way, just being curious and open to whatever arises. Physical sensation. Sense your breath moving into the whole body. Energy, sensation. Where's your energy today? Is it contracted or expanded? Heavy or light? And then sense whatever emotions are present, maybe even a flood of emotions that you've been experiencing upon waking or this morning or throughout this whole experience that we're experiencing with the whole world. This pandemic, let's name it. And just recognizing all the feelings that it brings. And see yourself in this role of being who you are. And let's embrace that today. Let's really embrace ourselves as we're showing up, recognizing that we're coming together in support of each other. We can feel held and nourished by the presence of those that are here from far and near. And just let everybody be. Just be. And let's take just a few more breaths in silence. Noticing what is present. Just recognizing what is there inside of you, feelings and thoughts and images. And allow yourself to be present with all of it. And maybe even name it so that you're being in relationship with what's truly being experienced in your inner environment. Don't try and change anything. Just by naming it, sometimes that creates a different relationship. We're not hiding anything. Being completely open, and this is a vulnerability, right? To truly be present with whatever is within us, our hearts, our bodies. Notice the feeling in your body, especially if you're naming those feelings. Where do you feel that in your body? As we move through our different shapes today, our different asana, we'll continue this inquiry. Think of it as moving into the corners of your inner world, sweeping out what may be hiding or lurking. Bring it all forward so you can heal. Let's take 3 breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, which either an H-A ha breath, or if you want to do an ah and let some sound come out, you're all muted. You've got the safety of your own space. So let's together release the breath and full breath in. And again, let that sound, that vibration of breath and perhaps sound move through you. Inhale. And once again, inhale together. Let your breath continue to be a place to settle the feeling of your breath, the sound of your breath, and gently open your eyes. And we're going to just tap our hearts a little bit, just kind of thump our thymus. This is good for our immune system, and it's just good for our hearts to bring some energy in here. Just a light tap, knocking on the door of your heart, seeing what's most present. Who's in there today? And then just release. I'm going to back up a little bit, and you might want to stretch your legs out at this point. We're going to just stay seated a little bit longer to open the neck and shoulders. So if you want to stretch the legs out, if you have knees that are tight, you might even put more like a bolster underneath like that, or a blanket or blocks. Or you might be more comfortable just going back to cross-legged. But we're going to work on this area of the neck and shoulders. Somebody give me a thumbs up. You can hear me? All right, awesome. So let's draw up through the crown of the head as we sink our sitting bones. And you might want to roll that pelvis a little bit just to release the lower spine. Mid-back, upper back. Right, just wiggle that out and rearrange your legs again. And drawing your attention to that length of head moving away from shoulders. Let's draw the shoulders back. And we're just going to drop our ear over to one side, releasing through the side of the neck and dropping into the breath and noticing that relationship of how we can create more connection, more intimate feeling in these areas that we're opening, with the area of with the breath. And then stretch the arm out. And feel that opening. And notice how it travels from one particular spot and then expands outward. Where does it expand in you? So let your inhalation bring your awareness into these areas. And it's lovely to stretch the throat and neck because this is our seat of communication. It's kind of where we get the opportunity or sometimes the resistance of really speaking from our heart. It's our creative center, how we express ourselves. So we're going to stay here for another 30 seconds. Yin is about coming into a particular shape or form, finding sensation, particularly your minimum edge, so we're not going too deep or being tender with ourselves. And then remaining and allowing the body's tissues to unwind and let go of what they may be holding on to, maybe even hiding or holding back. So breathe into that neck, and you can create a little bit of movement, but you really want to stay present in that one particular area of sensation. And 3 more full deep breaths here. So the practice of Yin is the practice of presence. And tapping us into that intimacy of deeper connection. And then with your next breath, don't lift your head yet, but bring the extended arm back into midline, and then go ahead and hold your head from underneath the other hand and push your head back up to center. So we're not engaging those muscles. And then just notice, maybe roll the shoulders out a bit. And then we're going to do the other side. So just slowly lowering. And you can reach out with the opposite hand. So if your ear is dropped to your right, you could reach out with the left hand. Keeping your torso upright. It's really about the neck. And then you can explore maybe slightly nodding forward or back, or slightly lifting or lowering the chin as if yes, or those gestures of yes and no. And do you find that place where your body says, oh yes, I feel that's where I need to be right now. And then you just remain and you breathe and you keep opening to what arises. And we practice letting go. Letting go of resistance. Letting go of distraction. And just dropping into what's most real in you right now. What are you feeling? What's your body telling you? Three more full deep breaths in and out here. So noticing how the breath carries you deeper inside. And that exhalation is your invitation to release or relax or remember. Now you're leaving the head down. Bring a hand underneath the lowered edge and push it back up gently. Then roll the shoulders out. Okay, we're going to take our legs, stretch them out again, just to give your knees a little love. And we'll place the sole of the feet together in a bound angle or butterfly pose. I like to be up on a block these days. You might want to be straight on the floor, block or bolster. And letting the knees drop. And you can play with how close or far you want your heels from your hips. It's going to touch different places. Okay, so try that on. It could be way out if you want. Okay. And then relax your arms either out on your knees like this or maybe in here. We're going to move the shoulders around a little bit. So let the arms kind of dangle and we're going to roll the shoulders. And feel that whole shoulder grow. I love to bring attention to the back body because we always, we see the front of our body. So we tend to relate to it more. Really feel how the shoulders are moving around. We're going to open that back body with a little flexion of the spine. So go ahead and settle the shoulders, and then we're going to soften the belly, which is different in the yin. We just kind of let it go, which is great. In fact, give your belly a little rub. It feels so good. This is our seat of emotions. We carry a lot in the second chakra and the sacral plexus and in our belly. And if you are feeling anxious or fearful, a lot of times the belly really holds that. Digestion might be impeded. Or it feels so good. I mean, just think of it with babies. Babies like their belly rubbed. You just want to rub their bellies. So why not nurture that in ourselves? We're going to let it be really soft. Okay? And especially for women, there's a lot there. Like we have a lot of emotional charge about our bellies. Let's just honor them. And we're just going to let them spill out. And then we're going to lean into our Baddha Konasana. So just dropping the chin. Now the back of the neck, of course, will be opening. And you lean your body forward into where you're going to feel your hip joints. And then your hands can again be on wherever it's comfortable. You're leaning in and you're letting your back round. And you're just finding your way into a gentle release, forward folding. Letting your head dangle, letting your arms support you, letting your body fold, round, soften. Moving your weight slightly forward or back in your hips. So find your way into what, again, we call minimum edge, those first points of sensation. And we are coming right up against those edges. So this is different than restorative yoga. We're going in and allowing these tissues of ours to release, because a lot of times our emotions do get stuck in our body. We might want to, especially the ones that are less desirable. So those less desirable emotions, which is sadness, fear, anger, remorse, disgust, those are the fears, those are the feelings that we often want to kind of hide away because we don't like them. But I want you to go in and let your body release. Now, other feelings might rise too. Might just start feeling like, oh, but I'm at peace and I feel content and I'm hopeful, and that's wonderful. So notice that too. We're not trying to drag something out that isn't there. Be inside your body and breathe with whatever is present.
And you have the option of, like sinking in a little bit deeper, exploring a little more, or the opposite, just backing off a little. You taking care of you. Three more breaths. So when we take these, I call them breaths of completion. So you want to stay and really acknowledge your experience and the fullness of breath. And then very, very slowly, you'll come up. So I want you to take a few breaths coming up. Don't just pop up. Just slowly let that be part of the experience, is unfolding the pose. Keeping the breath flowing. Let's lean back a little and help the knees come together. Okay. And then we're going to do one standing pose. Okay. So, but it's going to be a little forward bend. So I'll back up a little bit more. And just coming around onto all fours would be a great way to access this pose. And since we're here, we might as well give the spine a little movement, huh? With the breath, of course. And then from here, we're going to come to our feet, however you want to bring them underneath you, and place your forearms on your thighs. So the huddle position. And you can place whatever space between your feet is comfortable for you. And we're going to allow ourselves to open the back body. You can let your belly soften this time. Yin, soft. Relax the shoulders and the head. So the yin is the feminine aspect of our practice. So we're letting go. And if you're comfortable bringing your hands down here, if you have blocks, you might want to use that. You could stay with your forearms. We just want to let the whole spine dangle. It's called dangle asana. So you're on your feet, your knees are bent as much as you want. You're just letting your belly flood in towards your thighs. Let it go. Let go your shoulders and your head. Some of you might want to have the forearms on the thighs and hold your head. So again, you're finding your way in so you can let go. The whole back body releasing. We'll stay a minute or so. And the back body in the practice of yoga represents our past. All of our experiences, all of our lessons learned, all of our mistakes, and all of our awakenings. So we want to honor the back body for all that it holds and where it's brought us to today. And release and open to whatever arises. Sensation of body, movement of breath, emotion, images, beliefs. Embrace it all. Then we're going to slowly melt out of this pose. Bend your knees enough to bring your hands to the floor. Walk your feet away from your hands so you can bring your knees back down onto the ground. And then we're going to lay on our belly. So Personally, I'm on a wood floor, so I'm putting a blanket down to be more cushiony. Okay, so whatever you want. And we're going to just lay down on our belly and bring your arms up so you've got your arms folded in front of you, and you're just going to drop your head down on your arms, and you could turn your head to the side or straight down. Just find yourself comfortable in a belly down position. I like to rock my hips a little back and forth, just a little letting go. Your legs can be apart, whatever's comfortable for your back. And then you're going to just drop in. This is called crocodile pose. And we're just sinking our front body now into the earth and being supported by the earth. And let your belly again be soft. And as you breathe here, this is the pose. As you rest here with your head on your arms, face down if you can, or to one side, and focus on the breath itself, just really allowing yourself to feel the fullness of the inhalation, how your belly gently rounds into the earth when you breathe in. Let it soften and spill towards the earth. And as you exhale, the sinking of your hips and legs, the letting go, and just letting the wave of your breath be felt along the whole length of your body. So externally, this may look like a very passive pose. Notice all that's happening internally. And in your next few breaths here, just feeling that expansion, contraction, that inner pulsation, rise and fall. Allow your next few breaths to be released, if you haven't already, out the back of the throat. Just relax the jaw. And again, just let that breath go out like a gentle oceanic sound. Notice what releases. Where can you let go and be held by the earth? And then very, very slowly and tenderly, you're going to press your arms into the ground, which then will allow you to lift your head. Maybe move the neck around a little, and then place your arms out in front of you, Sphinx pose. I have a new image of the Sphinx because my daughter, who's here with us today, got to be in between the paws of the Sphinx this year at Christmas time. So now I get to not only imagine the Sphinx, I get to see her sitting right there. You know, and the Sphinx, whether you've been there or not, it's an image that we're all familiar with, the Great Pyramids. So it's a collective unconscious, knowing that energy of the ancients. So as you come into your Sphinx, let's just really recognize that as we come into the feelings within our own body, it's not just our own feelings. I mean, a lot of what's happening right now, the collective that's happening planetarily, that we're all in this together. What a wonderful mantra that has become our mantra on this planet. We're all in this together. And that's often where these emotions that we might be surprised about, like with my sadness yesterday, it wasn't mine. It was the collective. It wasn't mine personally. It was feeling into all that's being experienced
with humanity right now. And so we want to be sensitive to that. So this is opening the heart, right? Our arms are down, our heart is open. We're holding this position. You might want to drop in deeper. If you do, you could bring your elbows closer to you and more under the shoulders. But again, we're not pushing down to lift up, which we do in Yang. We're sinking. We're letting the belly stay soft. You can even sink into the shoulder girdle because we're going into those connective places in the joints that hold us together, and we're bringing a gentle awakening. For some of you, if you feel the urge to have a little bit more sensation, you could press onto the hands and let the elbows come off the floor. It's a little more active. It's called seal. I just like to do it a little bit because I don't want energy to build too much in my shoulders, but I let the heart melt, the shoulders soften, and just find a way of pressing into my hands so I can let my spine just melt forward, my heart open. If that's too much on your lower back, then you just rearrange, right? You're listening and feeling, being very truthful with your body's messages. And notice that for some of you, this might be really a challenge to be this still and this quiet. Maybe you're used to you wanting movement to take you away from something. So it's always good to do a practice that feels a little bit awkward or not in alignment with your natural flow. So we get to know new places within ourselves. So notice what's arising again in not just your body, but also your mind. What thoughts are coming up about this practice? Dropping in. Becoming more intimate with the little areas of sensation that we may not often feel. Let's take 3 more breaths in this open heart position. And then slowly lower the chest back down. Just take a few breaths in your crocodile again to neutralize the spine. Maybe wobble the hips right to left. And then we're going to peel ourselves off the floor so the hands come back by the chest. You just lift yourself up to all fours. And we're going to go a little deeper into the hips. These poses are called dragon. I think it's fun how Yin has different names because, and I wondered, like, why can't we use our traditional names? But it's because we're attending to these forms differently. So one leg comes forward in a lunge. Now this is where you might want your blocks or a bolster because it's kind of nice to hang out. We're literally going to hang out. So you've got one leg forward, one leg back. And then, I like to warm up to it. Bring the hips slightly forward and back. Notice what you're feeling. And again, the hands, much like the last pose, you can sink onto the hands and just drop in. And we actually allow the hips to hang. If it feels like there's too much pressure in the joint, you can always back off a little bit. You've got these options. Notice your options. You might then also want to lower to the elbows. That's why I like the blocks, because you can lower but not all the way to the floor. Soft belly. You might bring the hips slightly right or left. So we're going into sensation, a little bit of intensity.
because that little extra pull in the joint, attending to your ligaments and tendons, the dense fascia, is actually stimulating those tissues. As they release, they're also being awakened, and it actually strengthens. So we're building a strength around these joints that connect us, that connect our limbs with our torso. Sink in and stay. So this is a practice in resiliency, tenacity, patience. Another option would be to take your hand onto the front leg and maybe turn your chest towards that front knee a little bit. So you can create all kinds of different shapes with your upper body while you're allowing your hips to open big time. So we're going to stay another 30 seconds. About 5 breaths. So dropping into some of that intensity. A good lesson today because we're in an intense time. Can you stay present with it? So if you want to stay longer, please do. If you're ready to come out, you're going to press again down into the hands. Slowly lift the hips. Maybe stretch that front hamstring a little and then pull the leg out. Wobble around a little bit. And then prepare for the other side. So bring the other leg up. Okay. And you're playing this time. You're moving the hips to find those just right pockets. As you start to come forward, watch that front leg. You always want to support still integrity of alignment, even though we're releasing a lot more in yin, we still want to maintain integrity of alignment in the joints. So that as we do go in deep, they're being evenly opened. Think of all the connection in your knees and then the connection around the sacrum as well as into the hip joints. So feel into all of that. Oftentimes our hips will hold anger. If you feel that coming up, just feel into it. Soft belly. Maybe leaning on your forearm. I like to place the hand on the knee and open my heart a little bit more. And it's a dragon pose, so you could breathe like a dragon. Really let that exhalation go. And when you come up against a sense of intensity, like a lot of sensation, you need to be, use your wisdom mind, knowing that you're still safe. At the same time, you're attending to sensations of resistance or maybe wanting to run away. Can we stay present? Can we feel into it and still be safe? Be wise. And know that you are building your strength of resiliency. The ability to be present with whatever is being presented, inwardly and outwardly. 3 more breaths. Nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth.
Now on your own, when you're practicing, you can stay in these as long as you want. We're not staying as long as I might, but I really want to take you around a lot of different pockets in your body. So now anchor down and slowly, slowly come up. Those hips have been open, so you want to, bring them back together. Bring it around. Okay. Loosen it up. You want to stretch your legs out a little bit in a dog, whatever feels good in between. Now this next pose, it's one of my favorite, and I'm hoping it translates. So we're going to lay on our side, and I'm going to give you a lot of options. You could even put a blanket under your head, because we're going to do a sideline position. And the lower arm comes way out in front of you, and you're reaching your arm forward so it's out of the way. Laying on our side. And then your legs at first, they can just be stacked, sideline position. Okay, hope you can see me. And then your lower leg is going to go back. So at least have your knee, so you have if you're looking down on top, you have a straight line from your head to your shoulder to your hip to your lower knee. Your knee is bent 90 degrees. And then that's where I have to adjust my hips. You definitely might need to put a blanket if you're on your bony hip, on your hip bone. You can lean the hips forward or back. And you bring the top leg forward. So both knees are bent 90 degrees. The top leg's forward, and it can just drop. So you might have to just drop the pelvis forward. That might be interesting enough right there. And then what we're going to do is open the front of the lower leg. So the lower leg keeps going back. It opens the hips too. So I'm using my foot on the floor to create a little traction to move my lower thigh back behind me. And then, I'm stuck in the curtains. I'm going to reach, see if you can get that foot in your hand, your lower foot, if you can get it in your hand. Not everybody can reach their foot, but if you can, and then you just pull that so that you're opening. I'm going to change position a little bit. Just leave the foot on the floor. So you hold the foot and you bring this leg back. Now, if you can't get the foot, you just leave the leg down, coming back, like maybe even have something that goes on. You could straighten it out even. So you're pulling that, you're opening the lower hip, the front of the lower hip. And the top leg, so I'm going to grab mine. This is called cat pulling its tail. Probably another reason I like it, because I like cats. And then the heart starts to draw open. So you lean your top shoulder back. So again, the lower leg can be straight if you don't comfortably grab the ankle, or bent. Okay. A lot going on. Or if the leg is straight, you take your top arm. You could leave your hand on your ribs and open, or if you've got more mobility, you could open the arm out to the side. Be careful of the shoulder. So I'm really rotating. Now we add a twist. If that's too much twist in your body, then you would just stay more on your side. Okay, so the lower leg is either straight or bent. The back arm is either elbow bent or elbow straight or hand to foot. And now we have one more component, which is the top leg, which you can start to straighten out and add a little hamstring opening. Okay, that's a lot going on. It'll be good to hear how that went. But just create a shape that gives you a new awakening. So opening the hips a little more, opening the chest, twisting the spine a bit, and drop in. So there's no wrong. The right action is finding your form, your shape, and then remaining and breathing and accepting what you've been able to create for yourself,
your way, and then observe what arises from your choice. Each breath drawing you in, feeling waves of sensation. Three more finishing breaths. So stay in the form, maybe even deepen it a little bit with those last three breaths, or not. The invitation to feel what is most real. And then begin to melt out of the pose. There's a lot of parts in this one, so you'll slowly bring it back around and roll. Whoops. Sorry, I'm making odd noises. Shake it out a little bit. And you never know how the other side's going to feel. It could be very different, so be open to that. So now you roll onto the other side, switch direction. And at first, just lay on your side. You know, if you just want to lay in a sideline position and be there, that's fine. So this is really attending to your intuition. Maybe you just lay on your side and let your top arm drop back and focus on opening your heart some more. You're still gonna feel things everywhere. Okay. And then if you'd like to move on, you take the lower leg back, kind of pinwheel your legs. So they're both bent first, 90 degrees at the knees. That might be enough right there. And let the weight of your body really sink with gravity. Let gravity create a heaviness in you, a letting go, a melting, a being held. If you want to grab the ankle, maybe straighten the top leg. So lots of options. And you're moving in from your heart and your body, not your head. No shoulding on what you think you should do. It's do what feels right. What opens up some new territories, places you may not have attended to. And go right up against that point of resistance. We're meeting our resistance in order to clear out the cobwebs or maybe some things we've stuck away. Let it all rise to the surface. Give it your attention. Be curious. Three more breaths. So stay present. Whatever thoughts arise, just watch. Watch the thoughts. There's a thought. There's a feeling. And our three finishing breaths. Can you drop in just a little deeper? Maybe just a letting go of unconscious holding. Maybe we're holding and not knowing it. What else can you let go of? And then we melt out of the pose. So take your time, pulling your legs back in if they're out, rolling onto your back. Okay. And then you could keep a blanket under your head if you need it, but only if when you lay on your back, if your chin feels like it's high coming up, and that would be caused by rounded shoulders, then you'll want a blanket under your head. But if you can lay flat with your shoulders grounded, do that. So this next is a side opener, and it's a little less intense. It's called Banana Asana. Some of you know this. So you lay nice and straight on the ground, a little Supta Tadasana, sleeping mountain pose. We start with the lower body. And what I like to do is go ahead and take your hands to your head and lift your head up off the floor, looking down your body. Your feet are together. You'll take one leg out. Let's just do the same leg. Take your left leg towards the left without turning your knee out. So don't roll your leg out. You want the toes to stay to the sky and your knee to the sky. So you're really coming from the side body. So it's over there. And then you're going to take your other leg, your right leg, and reach it over and cross your ankle. And now lay your head back down and let that right hip really sink onto the ground. You'll feel that opening through your right side body. Now you can take your legs just slightly more over, or maybe you need to bring them back a little bit. And I'll change my position so you can see. And then the option is that's it. That might be your form. You focus on the lower hip, that right hip opening. And then the option is to get the upper body involved. So your right arm, so your feet are bending to the left, your right arm could just go out to the side, or you could reach it overhead, of course, depending on your shoulder girdle. The arm goes overhead, and then you could take your left hand and grab your right wrist and start to curve your torso even more to the left, your shoulder girdle. So you're squeezing a bit on the left side, and your right side is very open. So you are now the banana. Adjust your head so your neck is neutral. Now take some deep breaths into that right side body. It's quite open. And let your hip and your shoulder girdles be very heavy. The right side dropping down. Whole side body opening. And you can imagine that these fascial layers, this connective tissue, is like a net that surrounds your entire body. And this whole netting that runs from head to toe, front to back, wrapping around your torso, you're just giving it some space. You're opening those interweavings. And notice what arises. So again, if any thought or emotion arises that feels uncomfortable, can you stay with that discomfort and explore it? And see it as simply a feeling, a thought. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Again, this is one of those poses you could probably stay in longer. When you're on your own with these forms, you just want to stay until there's an inner prompting from your body, not the mind. The mind will probably want to come out sooner. So when the mind prompts you, just take a few breaths and drop back in and wait for the body to prompt you. For now, we're going to release the arms. Take the arms down, Bring the torso back around to neutral and then release your top leg. And let's go ahead and bend the knees and place the feet on the floor so you can adjust your hips and shoulders evenly. Maybe just wobble a little bit. Wobble the hips, shake it out. And then other side. So straighten the legs. Now you don't have to lift your head to watch, but I wanted you to see that on the other side. So as you bring your right leg to the right now, again, make sure you don't roll it out. If anything, turn it in a little bit. Otherwise, you'll go too far. And then bring the left ankle over to the right ankle and drop the weight of your hip back down. The left hip drops down. So you'll feel that opening into the hip again. Option, stay there. Or involve the upper body as you roll, you bring your hands together and you reach your elbows to the right. Again, if there's issues in the shoulder, you could just bring the torso to the right but leave your left arm down. So we do want intensity, we want sensation in the joints themselves as long as it feels safe. So again, be honest with yourself and your body's wisdom. And then once you've found those just right places, you stay, you practice remaining present without moving, without shifting away from, but dropping into all that is present in you. You clear out these little pockets, the storehouse of our feelings. Deep breaths in and out. Little refinements, yet remaining. And 3 more breaths of completion. And then taking your time to feel the unwinding as you bring yourself back around, taking one body part at a time. And when you come onto your back this time, let's go ahead and bring the feet off the floor. Just give yourself a little knee to chest squeeze. Maybe move the knees around a little bit, stretch out the back, squeeze the belly with the thighs. And then we're going to do a little final posture and meditation. And so roll to your side and come up so you can arrange a lovely little nest. So here's where you want pillows under your back. If you have a bolster, I think a few of you do, but pillows are fine. You just want to support yourself. I like to put the blocks under my bolster so I have a little bit of a lift. Or you could even take, if you just have blankets, you could roll your blanket and put it under your spine and then maybe another one across the top or a little pillow under your head. You can fold your bolster your blanket like a bolster, 2 of those. So fists around, and you want to support a chest opening, and then you'll probably want something under your knees as well. So if you can get something under your knees, laying with the legs straight is what I'm going to recommend, but of course any shape will do. And you might even want a blanket over the top of you.
because you're going to be there for a bit. So I'll demo, but then I'm going to come up to guide you. When you have something under your spine, you want to make sure your lower back is completely supported. You want the pillows that are underneath your spine to be right at the rim of your pelvis. Make sure your lower back feels fully supported. Again, if you need support under the head, put something there. And you want the arms to drape open. So if you have shorter arms and your elbows are in the sky or in the air, it's not the sky, not hitting ground, you might want to either lower your blankets, your bolsters, your pillows, or put something underneath your elbows. So you want your joints supported. So this is a restorative pose. So this is not yin. Now we're moving away from the intensity of being in our joints, and we're just going to get really soft. So you could even create a different form if you need. I want you to lay on the ground. I invite you to lay on the ground as effortlessly as possible, very supported with all the props and the earth, and a blanket over you would be lovely too. Yes. And sink in. So this is your time to absorb the results of your practice of yin. That is really an opportunity to notice how we attend to ourselves, how we face challenges, because when we go into those deeper pockets, it can be challenging. So how do we allow ourselves to be present and really feel into the truth of our inner experience? So we're dropping in now to a place of ease and an invitation for equanimity, which means your body is supported, your breath is flowing effortlessly, and your mind is here in the present. And as you rest, I'd like you to notice what you're feeling in the emotional realm, our manomaya kosha, the layer of our being that is our psycho-emotional being that makes us so human. And I want us to embrace that humanness and have empathy for her, she who is feeling whatever arises. Notice what is present, what feeling, and maybe feelings that you've been perhaps struggling with, that you didn't want to feel. Again, coming back to acknowledging the emotions that are less desirable and recognizing them still as an important part of our human experience. And whether they're present in you now or not, we still want to honor them because they're present for others. So maybe you empathize with someone you know or don't know that may be experiencing feelings of fear, sadness, anger. And again, embrace those feelings. Recognize them within yourself and within the collective. And really accept, allow them to be.
So you may name them. Maybe just choose one and be in relationship. Be together. Be with. So we're recognizing, we are allowing, and then I invite you to investigate where these feelings, these emotions arise in you, drop out of the head and into the body, the sensory experience of emotion. Maybe in your heart or your belly or your throat. Notice when you allow these emotions to be experienced, where in your physical body do they reside? And what does that feel like? Can you define the feeling? A sharpness, a heaviness? They have a color or an image. Allow yourself to explore. And also notice any resistance to that, any part of you that is unwilling to feel these emotions that are part of us. Drop into your body. Notice what wants your attention most of all. And allow this attention that you're giving to your own feelings to be a way of nurturing. So that last phase of this experience of recognizing, allowing, investigating is how can you nurture that feeling? How can you nurture yourself in that experience of what's arising? And perhaps in today's practice that unfolded for you a bit, the nurturing of attention, of touch, of movement. You may see yourself moving into this day with this promise to nurture that which is truly present in you. So perhaps a walk in nature or a nap or some journaling or some dancing if you need to move more. What nurtures you in this state of your being? Not pushing away any feelings or emotions, but accepting, allowing, honoring. Ask yourself, what do I need today to nurture myself? Knowing that nurturing yourself is the same as nurturing those around you. It's an act of kindness
for all. Or perhaps you know someone that needs some nurturing, another phone call or a note, or just a prayer or blessing in their direction. What feels nurturing in this moment? Are there any words of comfort that come to mind? Direct them towards yourself, your tender self. And in these last moments here together in this place of rest, I'd like you to reflect a bit on taking these practices with you today, to be really present with whatever arises. Recognize what's coming up in you, in your body's experience of feeling. Allow yourself to feel whatever arises, whether it's your own feeling or that which you're feeling from those around you, from the greater collective. When we open up our sensitivity, our empathy, we can actually allow emotions to move through us that serves all. Be willing to feel. Be willing to allow, and then to investigate. What's this like? Where is it in me? Is there anything I'm not willing to feel? Can I step in? Breathe into it. And then what does this feeling need most? How can I nurture myself in this place of truth? Love is often the answer. To be in that love, that loving acceptance. And let that breathe into you the love of all, moving through you. And see yourself moving through this day, being open to what arises, being curious, allowing it all to be felt, and then nurturing yourself in your own way. Last few breaths here. And as we begin to slowly see ourselves coming out of this practice, so important. You want to stay with these experiences that you've had internally. And really stay present. Have that sense of presence within you. And this is the essence of your practice. Being in truth with who you truly are. The truth of who you are, moment by moment. Be that open, tender-hearted person that's accepting of all that is unfolding. This is compassion. So start to gently move your body and feel what's most real. Be thankful that we can be present with ourselves and therefore more present with others. Slowly come to your side and you'll just take yourself up to a comfortable seat so we can come together upright, head held high, breath flowing. Roll the shoulders out. Okay. Right. And take your hands to your heart. Let's take a nice deep breath in here. And back out again. And see yourself moving into this day, just staying in that rhythm of inner connection. Recognizing what's present, accepting it, investigating it, and then nurturing yourself. Thank you so much for joining together today. Namaste.